Yes, next.
Hi, I'm Duncan. I live here in the Fruitvale and work with the local community in the NCPCs. We're very lucky here in Oakland to have great outreach and gang prevention, gang intervention programs, but it seems like they're not working, and we now have this opportunity with the gang injunction to try something different. So my question is the council going to support this and also help and try and bring together the parties who are on the different sides of this? Because the truth is we all believe in the same stuff. We don't want our kids to get hurt. We don't want to send them to jail. But we do want the people here in the Fruitvale to have an opportunity to feel safe, and safe enough that they can report crime and go about their normal everyday business.
Okay, so you're going to get two opinions here. I'll start. First of all, the crime, and so I have to say the media every time so that we don't scare away businesses or people. Crime is still going down in Oakland. This will now be our 5th year. It's 14% down in overall crime, and even with these murders, 4% down in violent crime. The murder that happened yesterday was not a gang-related murder. So let's be clear on that. The gang injunction, or injunctions, are a tool that we use. I don't make anyone happy because I don't like the way it was rolled out as quote-unquote a gang injunction. I thought it made the whole Fruitvale look bad, but everybody in my own district knows that I've supported injunctions against specific criminals at specific places. So it is something that I believe that the council will support usage of if it's done in a way against specific people, specific places. There's nothing I've said to the chief that would stop him from doing that. I did tell him, though, that I don't like the way it was rolled out. I thought it didn't make the community look good, and it maybe stigmatized our young people, and that there are other gang prevention issues that we need to do, and I pulled together that task force. All of the air has been sort of taken out of the air just for this injunction, which is just one tool. We haven't had call-ins for a while. I've started those. The call-in, which I think is the most effective tool, is we are going to call in. We're actually right now at Juvenile Hall right now seeing who's going to be released in the next 2 months from gangs, and we're going to be meeting with them and calling them in immediately to tell them we know who they are and we know where they are, and we'd like them to get these jobs and get them into different services. One of the fears I have about just stigmatizing one neighborhood is that we have 3 or 4 Latino gangs here. We have the Border Brothers, the Norteños, the Serranos. If you just keep them out of one neighborhood, I might just be pushing them south into the Serranos where I used to represent. I didn't think that was a great idea, and that has happened in other cities. So I think we have to be smarter about what we do. But the most important thing, because I have the community here, the most important thing that we can do that the research shows about gangs is get parents involved with their teenagers. Yep. So we have a great parent program around gangs. We're trying to double the amount of parents that are involved. It's hard for me to believe the number of parents who claim they don't know that their kids are involved in gangs, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. To me, that is my priority in the program, but I think we'll use everything, and I know Ignacio feels differently. So.
I feel different, but I think that I have to give credit to the mayor for many, many years. And I think that's what the rhetoric is all about here, because we have spent incredible amount of resources. Oakland is a very, very generous city. Kids First, Measure Y, millions and millions of dollars to prevention and intervention. She's been championing that. We've been working on that. And I support that. I believe that that's absolutely necessary, and we will continue doing it. But also, I'll support the gang injunction. We need additional tools. I mean, the reality is that I have lived in Oakland for 40 years, and I have seen Oakland change. I live in almost in every neighborhood. And I have seen the fact that the gangs have managed to grow and recruit our children and in the schools, and that will continue unless we disrupt them, unless we actually do something about it. So I think that the misconception out there is that somehow, if the gang injunction is implemented, we're going to stop doing everything else we're doing. And that's not correct. We will continue spending Measure Y. We will continue adding additional resources for prevention and intervention. We will continue bringing even additional measures. Dellums. If Dellums didn't do anything, I'm tell you he did one thing. He brought in additional resources for outreach workers, parolees, and a lot of the services we are providing. All of that has increased. Now we have to really use additional tools. Otherwise, I'm sorry, but the seniors and the victims and the merchants, they have to put out with the prostitution, with the organized gang activity, with Jose de la Cruz Park, that we cannot use it after we invested a lot of money because the Norteños took take over, and then you take over the park. Come on, we know that. That's the reality. So we got to do everything that we are doing, prevention, intervention, but absolutely we have the responsibility to use every tool to enforce and to make sure that our children and our seniors can actually go buy milk at Walgreens and not getting shot. That's the issue here. So,
Thank you.
Whoever is the last in line, that's the last question, because I'm told we're going to be over. So we're going to try to make our answers shorter so we can get through this line. She has an announcement on the next parent training for the gang.
So classes are starting at Jose de la Cruz for parents who believe that their kids may be gang involved. The date and time will be available at that table back there, the Neighborhood Services Division table. So for parents who do want to become more involved with their young kids.
Or if you know friends who should get that, or your teachers, etc. So let's please do it. We're going to take the next question. We just got to keep rolling.
Okay, Bill Balderston, a longtime teacher and union activist in Oakland, and I live in the Fruitvale. In regard to the parcel tax, someone already mentioned the possibility of it being a progressive, that is a graduated one. Is there a thought of building a coalition around that and other forms of local progressive taxation, including some assessment of businesses doing a business in the Port of Oakland? And related to that, is the city and individuals like yourselves ready to build a statewide coalition to demand tax fairness, especially around taxes on the top 1% and on the loopholes in Prop 13 and the oil severance tax? Because if we don't have it, we will be lost.
I'm just going to make it short. Yes, I've always supported the oil extraction tax. We're the only state that doesn't. It would be worth $1.6 billion. That would have saved most of this last round of cuts in the schools. And there are also other coalitions along that. But in terms of taxing the imports, we're not allowed to. It's a federal issue. I don't know if we would tax businesses at the port differently than the rest of Oakland. Okay, same thing. Next.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm here today because I am against the Oakland gang injunction. There's a couple reasons why, and I'm here to ask for your help. I don't think this was put right. It was kind of rushed, the way that they kind of presented all of this. It's been proven not effective in North Oakland. We've actually wasted probably over $1 million. We need for our schools and youth centers so people have somewhere to go so they're not out in the streets. Most of these people have already been monitored or are monitored currently by Parole Probation Department. Some of them have been absolutely doing nothing wrong, going to work, trying to better their lives. One of them being my brother, who's already being punished for something that hasn't been approved yet. I don't understand why it's okay to be harassed and targeted because he's a Latino male. A lot of the injunctions, a lot of the people, that are concerned about this in the lower part of the Fruitvale area.
Keep this to a minute, unless the girls behind you want
yeah,
to give up their time.
I have a few more seconds. Are not here because they're scared to speak out because they're scared police will go against them and their families. A lot of people and families that didn't go through this, they don't really know what happens because they haven't been affected by it. So I'm here to ask for help and, for people to be able to take both sides into consideration.
Okay. You young ladies, you're sort of together. You want to speak now too, all together? Why don't you all speak together, because I bet you're all on the same topic.
We're also here to talk about the gang injunction, how we oppose it, not only as young people, but because we understand both sides need to be taken into consideration, like she said, and we also want to be heard as the young people, because we go to school here, we walk these streets, we know what's going on in our streets, so.
And another thing is that we have to consider is that, I mean, we do support the elderly, we do support, you know, all these measures, the merchants and everything, but how are you going to take that into consideration without taking our side too? I mean,
because I go to Merritt College, and I'm hearing that there's a lot of money that's going to be cut, and when the gang junctions have been proven that they don't work. So instead of using that money for gang junctions, why can't they use it for our schools to build more programs for the young people? Like, we want to be taken into consideration too.
Okay. Is that ever?
And it's a lot of adults in here, but have you guys tried to talk to the young people? Have you guys tried to get them out here to speak up? You guys don't take into consideration what we're thinking. It's only about what you guys think is safe for Oakland. And it's our communities, it's our families, and it's our streets, so I think we should be put into consideration also.
All right. Is that the last one? Okay, so I want you to know that at every town hall meeting, I've had a youth group so that we could just listen to the youth, and some of their ideas are not dissimilar from yours. Let me just say quickly, gang injunction, the problem is that it has divided the community at a time we need to be unified. And all the meetings I've gone to, today's results were pretty indicative, half for, half against. That's too bad, because I do think we're all for reducing violence and outreaching to the kids. There's two issues here. You talked about the legal expenses. There is the issue that we would have wanted this issue to have been in front of the city council so they could have voted before the legal issues. But I think actually there probably is majority support for it on the, but there is that issue. And then as mayor, I did not realize how much money was being spent, and we're just looking in general in our legal fees to have a little bit more control, to bring that to the city council so that when any case goes over, let's say $200,000, that it has to come to the council for approval to continue going that high. It is one of the famous little disagreements between the city attorney and the council and the mayors in terms of his budget and whether or not he can just go and take any legal case as far as he wants without coming back to us.
I'd just like to add, because I thank you for being here. I think you and I have been in the city council for a long time, and both of us have fought. Actually, she probably even longer because she was in the school board. But we have fought to make sure that it is as much money as we can allocate for prevention and intervention. I mean, as many millions as we can. It's never be enough. It will never be enough. But I think that Oakland, different than other cities, we have allocated more resources when it comes per capita than almost any other city, because we believe in you. We believe that you're absolutely right, that we got to provide more programs and we got to provide more opportunities, scholarships, you name it. We work very close together to raise money for scholarships, to make sure there is money for education. So I think that we have to look at the other part too. We have to look at the fact that it is happening and we cannot ignore it. The 80% of the homicide last year were gang-related, like it or not. That's the data. So we have to work on that. But that doesn't mean that we're going to stop working in exactly what you're saying and bring in more resources exactly in the areas that you are suggesting, because you're right. Okay?